So we are still reading from Via's friend's perspective. Our Town. We're doing the play Our Town for the spring show this year. Olivia dares me to try out for the lead role. The stage manager, and somehow I get it. Total fluke. Never got any lead roles in anything before. I tell Olivia that she brings me good luck. Unfortunately, she doesn't get the female lead, Emily Gibbs. The pink-haired girl named Miranda gets it. Olivia gets a bit part and is also the Emily understudy. I'm actually more disappointed than Olivia is. She seems almost relieved. And I don't love people staring at me, she says, which is sort of strange coming from such a pretty girl. A part of me thinks maybe she blew her audition on purpose. The spring show is at the end of April. It's mid-March now, so that's less than 6 weeks to memorize my part. Plus rehearsal time, plus practicing with my band, plus finals. Plus spending time with Olivia. It's going to be a rough 6 weeks, that's for sure. Mr. Davenport, the drama teacher, is already manic about the entire thing. He'll drive us crazy by the time it's over, no doubt. I heard through the grapevine that he'd been planning on doing The Elephant Man, but changed it to Our Town at the last minute. And that change took a week off of our rehearsal schedule. Not looking forward to the craziness of the next month and a half. Ladybug. Olivia and I are sitting on her front stoop. She's helping me with my lines. It's a warm March evening, almost like summer. The sky is still bright, but the sun is low, and the sidewalks are streaked with long shadows. I'm reciting, yes, the sun's coming up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked the mountains a little bit more, and the rains have brought down some of the dirt. Some babies that weren't even born before have begun talking regular sentences already. And a number of people who thought they were right young and spry have noticed that they've bound up a flight of stairs. Like they can't do it like they used to without their heart fluttering a little. I shake my head. Can't remember the rest. All that can happen in 1,000 days, Olivia prompts me, reading from the script. Right, I say, shaking my head. I sigh. I'm wiped, Olivia. How am I going to remember all these lines? You will, she answers confidently. She reaches out and cups her hand over a ladybug that appears out of nowhere. See? A good luck sign, she says, slowly lifting her top hand to reveal the ladybug, walking on the palm of her other hand. Good luck, or just the hot weather, I joke. Of course good luck, she answers, watching the ladybug crawl up her wrist. There should be a thing about making a wish on a ladybug. Augie and I used to do that with fireflies when we were little. She cups her hand over the ladybug again. Come on, make a wish. Close your eyes. I dutifully close my eyes. A long second passes. Then I open them. Did you make a wish? She asks. Yep. She smiles, uncups her hands, and the ladybug, as if on cue, spreads its wings and flits away. Don't you want to know what I wished for? I ask. No, she answers shyly, looking up at the sky, which at this very moment is the exact color of her eyes. I made a wish too, she says mysteriously, but she has so many things she could wish for, I have no idea what she's thinking. The bus stop. Olivia's mom, Augie, Jack, and Daisy come down the stoop just as I'm saying goodbye to Olivia. Slightly awkward. Hey guys, says the mom, pretending not to see anything. But the two boys are giggling. Hi, Mrs. Pullman. Please, call me Isabel, Justin, she says again. It's like the 3rd time she's told me this, so I really need to start calling her that. I'm heading home, I say, as if to explain. Oh, are you heading to the subway, she says, following the dog with a newspaper. Can you walk Jack to the bus stop? No problem. That's okay with you, Jack? The mom asked him, and he shrugs. Justin, can you stay with him until the bus comes? Of course. We all say our goodbyes, and Olivia winks at me. You don't have to stay with me, says Jack, as we're walking up the block. I take the bus by myself all the time. Augie's mom is way too overprotective. He's got a low, gravely voice, like a little tough guy. He's kind of looks like one of those little rascal kids in old black and white movies, like he should be wearing a newsboy cap and knickers. We got to the bus stop and the schedule says the bus will be there in 8 minutes. I'll wait with you, I tell him. Up to you, he shrugs. Can I borrow $1? I want some gum. I fish out $1 out of my pocket and watch him cross the street to the grocery store on the corner. He seems too small to be walking around by himself. Then I think how I was that young when I was taking the subway by myself. Way too young. I'm going to be an overprotective dad someday, I know it. My kids are going to know that I care about them. I'm waiting there for a minute or two when I notice 3 kids walking up the block from the other direction. They walk right past the grocery store, but one of them looks inside and nudges the other 2, and they all back up and look inside. I can tell they're up to no good, all elbowing each other, laughing, and one of them is Jack's height, but the other 2 look much bigger, more like teens. They hide behind the fruit stand in front of the store, and when Jack walks out, they trail behind him, making loud throw-up noises. Jack casually turns around at the corner to see who they are, and they run away high-fiving each other and laughing. Little jerks. Jack crosses the street like nothing happened and stands next to me at the bus stop, blowing a little bubble. Friends of yours? I finally say. Ha, he says. They're jerks from my school. A kid named Julian and 2 gorillas, Henry and Miles. Do they bother you like that a lot? No, they've never done that before, and they'd never do that in school or they would get kicked out. Julian doesn't even live around here, so I guess it was just bad luck running into him. Oh, okay, I nod. It's not a big deal, he assures me. We both automatically look down Amherst Avenue to see if the bus is coming. We're sort of in a war, he says after a minute, as if that explains everything. Then he pulls out this crumpled piece of loose-leaf paper from his jean pocket and gives it to me. I unfold it, and it's a list of names in 3 columns. He's turned the whole grade against me, says Jack. Not the whole grade, I point out, looking down at the list. He leaves me notes in the locker that say stuff like, everybody hates you, and you should tell your teacher about that. Jack looks at me and shakes his head. Anyway, you have all these neutrals, I say, pointing to the list. If you get them on your side, things will even up a bit. Yeah, well, that's really going to happen, he says sarcastically. Why not? He shoots me another look like I am absolutely the silliest person he's ever talked to in the world. What? I say. He shakes his head like I'm hopeless. Let's just say, he says, I'm friends with someone who isn't exactly as the most popular kid in the school. Then it hits me. What he's not coming out and saying, August. This is all about his being friends with August. And he doesn't want to tell me because I'm the sister's boyfriend. Yeah, of course. Makes sense. We see the bus coming down the avenue. Well, just hang in there, I tell him, handing back the paper. Middle school is about as bad as it gets, and then it gets better. Everything will work out. He shrugs and shoves the list back into his pocket. We wave goodbye when he gets on the bus, and I watch it pull away. When I go to the subway station, 2 blocks away, I see the same 3 kids hanging out in the front of the bagel place next door. They're still laughing and yuck-yucking each other like they're some kind of little gang of little rich boys in expensive skinny jeans acting all tough. Don't know what possesses me, but I take my glasses off and I put them in my pocket, and then I tuck my fiddle case under my arm so that the pointy side is facing up. I walk over to them, my face scrunched up, mean looking. They look at me, laughs dying on their lips when they see me, and ice cream cones at odd angles. Yo, listen up. Don't mess with Jack, I say really slowly, gritting my teeth, my voice all Clint Eastwood tough guy. Mess with him again and you will be very, very sorry. And then I tap my fiddle case for effect. Got it? They nod in unison, ice cream dripping onto their hands. Good, I nod mysteriously, then sprint down the subway 2 steps at a time. Rehearsal. The play is taking up most of my time as we get closer to the opening night. There's lots of lines to remember, monologues where it's just me talking. Olivia had this great idea and it's helping. I have my fiddle with me on stage and play it a bit while I'm talking. It's not written that way, but Mr. Davenport thinks it adds an extra folksy element to have the stage manager plucking on a fiddle. And for me, it's so great, because whenever I need a second to remember my line, I just start playing a little Soldier's Joy on my fiddle, and it buys me some time. I've gotten to know the kids in the show a lot better, especially the pink-haired girl who plays Emily. Turns out she's not nearly as stuck-up as I thought she was, given the crowd she hangs out with. Her boyfriend's this built jock who's a big deal on the varsity sports circuit at school. It's a whole world that I have nothing to do with, so I'm kind of surprised that this Miranda girl turns out to be kind of nice. One day we're sitting on the floor backstage waiting for the tech guys to fix the main spotlight. So how long have you and Olivia been dating? She asks out of the blue. About 4 months now, I say. Have you met her brother? She asks casually. It's so unexpected that I can't hide my surprise. You know Olivia's brother? I ask. Via didn't tell you? We used to be good friends. I've known Augie since he was a baby. Oh yeah, I think I knew that, I answered. I don't want to let on that Olivia had not told me any of this. I don't want to let on how surprised I am that she called her Via. Nobody but Olivia's family calls her Via, and here this pink-haired girl, who I thought was a stranger, is calling her Via. Miranda laughs and shakes her head, but she doesn't say anything. There's an awkward silence, and then she starts fishing through her bag and pulls out a wallet. She rifles through a couple of pictures and then hands one to me. It's of a little boy in a park on a sunny day. He's wearing shorts and a t-shirt and an astronaut helmet that covers his entire head. It was like 100 degrees that day, she says, smiling at the picture. But he wouldn't take the helmet off for anything. He wore it for like 2 years straight. In the winter, in the summer, at the beach. It was crazy. Yeah, I've seen pictures in Olivia's house. I'm the one who gave him that helmet, she says. She sounds a little proud of that. She takes the picture and carefully inserts it back into her wallet. Cool, I answer. So you're okay with it, she says, looking at me. I look at her blankly. Okay with what? She raises her eyebrows like she doesn't believe me. You know what I'm talking about, she says. And she takes a long drink from her water bottle. Let's face it, she continues. The universe was not kind to Augie Pullman. Bird. Why didn't you tell me that? You and Miranda used to be friends, I say to Olivia the next day. I'm really annoyed at her for not telling me this. It's not a big deal, she answers defensively, looking at me like I'm weird. But it is a big deal. I looked like an idiot. How could you not tell me? You've always acted like you don't even know her. I don't know her, she answers quickly. I don't know who that pink-haired cheerleader is. The girl I knew was a total dork who collected American Girl dolls. Oh, come on, Olivia. You come on. You could have mentioned it to me at some point, pretending not to notice the big fat tear that's suddenly rolling down her cheek. She shrugs, fighting back bigger tears. It's okay. I'm not mad, I say, thinking the tears are about me. I honestly don't care if you're mad, she says spitefully. Oh, that's real nice, I fire back. She doesn't say anything, and the tears are about to come. Olivia, what's the matter, I say. She shakes her head like she doesn't want to talk about it. But all of a sudden, the tears start rolling a mile a minute. I'm sorry, it's not you, Justin. I'm not crying because of you, she finally says through her tears. Then why are you crying? Because I'm an awful person. What are you talking about? She's not looking at me, wiping her tears with the palm of her hand. I haven't told my parents about the show, she says quickly. I shake my head because I don't quite get what she's telling me. That's okay, I say. It's not too late. There are still tickets available. I don't want them to come to the show, Justin, she interrupts impatiently. Don't you see what I'm saying? I don't want them to come. If they come, they'll bring Augie with them, and I just don't feel like... Here, she's hit by another round of crying that doesn't let her finish talking. I put my arm around her. I'm an awful person, she says through her tears. You're not an awful person, I say softly. Yes, I am, she sobs. It's just been so nice being in a new school where nobody knows anything about him, you know? Nobody's whispering behind my back. It's just been so nice, Justin. But if he comes to play, then everyone will talk about it. Everyone will know. And I don't know why I'm feeling like this. I swear I've never been embarrassed by him before. I know, I say, soothing her. You're entitled, Olivia. You've dealt with a lot your whole life. Olivia reminds me of a bird sometimes, how her feathers get all ruffled when she's mad. And when she's fragile like this, she's a little lost bird looking for its nest. So I give her my wing to hide under. The universe. I couldn't sleep tonight. My head is full of thoughts that won't turn off. Lines from my monologues, elements of the periodic table that I'm supposed to be memorizing, theorems I'm supposed to be understanding, Olivia, Augie. Miranda's words keep coming back. The universe was not kind to Augie Pullman. I'm thinking about that a lot and everything it means. She's right about that. The universe was not kind to Augie Pullman. And what did that little kid ever do to deserve his sentence? What did What did the parents do? Or Olivia? She once mentioned that some doctor told her parents the odds of someone getting the same combination of syndromes that came together to make Augie's face were like 1 in 4 million. So doesn't that make the universe a giant lottery then? You purchase a ticket when you're born, and it's just all random whether you get a good ticket or a bad ticket. It's all luck. My head swirls on this, and softer thoughts soothe, like a flatted third on a major chord. No, it's not all random. If it really was random, the universe would abandon us completely. And the universe doesn't. It takes care of its most fragile creations in ways that we can't see. Like with the parents who adore you blindly, and a big sister who feels guilty for being human over you, and a little gravely voiced kid whose friends have left him over you, and even a pink-haired girl who carries your pictures in her wallet. Maybe it's a lottery, but the universe makes it all even out in the end. The universe takes care of all of its birds. All right, we are on to part 6. So this is from Augie's perspective. North Pole. The Spud lamp was a big hit at the science fair. Jack and I got an A for it. It was the first A Jack got in any class all year long, so he was psyched. All the science fair projects were set up on tables in the gym. It was the same setup as the Egyptian Museum back in December, except this time there were volcanoes and dioramas on the table instead of pyramids and pharaohs. And instead of the kids taking our parents around to look at everybody else's artifact, we had to stand by our table while all the parents wandered around the room and came over to us one by one. Here's the math on that one. 60 kids in the grade equals 60 set of parents. And that doesn't even include grandparents. So that's a minimum of 120 pairs of eyes that find their way over to me. Eyes that aren't as used to me as their kids' eyes are by now. It's like how compass needles always point north. No matter which way you're facing, all those eyes are compasses, and I'm like the North Pole to them. That's why I still don't like school events that include parents. I don't hate them as much as I did at the beginning of the school year. Like the Thanksgiving Sharing Festival, that was the worst one, I think. That was the first time I had to face all the parents at once. And the Egyptian Museum came after that. But that one was okay, because I got to dress up as a mummy and nobody noticed me. Then came the winter concert, which I totally hated, because I had to sing in the chorus. And not only can I not sing at all, but it felt like I was on display. The New Year art show wasn't quite as bad, but it was still annoying. They put up our artwork in the hallways all over the school and had the parents come and check it out. It was like starting school all over again, having unsuspecting adults pass me on the stairway. Anyways, it's not that I care that the people react to me. It's like I said a gazillion times. I'm used to that by now. I don't let it bother me. It's like when you go outside and it's drizzling a little bit. You don't put on boots for a drizzle. You don't even open your umbrella. You just walk through it and barely notice your hair getting wet. But when it's a huge gym full of parents, the drizzle becomes like this total hurricane. Everyone's eyes hit you like a wall of water. Mom and Dad hang around my table a lot, along with Jack's parents. It's kind of funny how parents actually end up forming the same little groups that their kids form. Like my parents and Jack's and Summer's mom all get along with each other. And I see Julian's parents hang out with Henry's parents and Miles' parents. And even the two Max's parents hang out together. It's so funny. I told Mom and Dad about it later when we were talking and walking home. And though they thought it was a funny observation, I guess it's true that like seeks like, said Mom. The Augie doll. For a while, the war was all that we talked about. February was when it was really at its worst. And that's when practically nobody was talking to us, and Julian had started leaving notes in our lockers. The notes to Jack were stupid, like, "You stink, Big Cheese, and nobody likes you anymore." I got notes like, "Freak," and another one that said, "Get out of our school." Summer thought that we should report these notes to Miss Rubin, who was the middle school dean, or even Mr. Tushman. We thought that maybe that would be like snitching. Anyways, it's not like we didn't leave notes too mean. They were kind of funny and sarcastic. One was, "You're so pretty, Julian. I love you. Will you marry me? Love, Balua." Another was, "Love your hair, XOXO." And another one was, "Tickle my feet." Balua was a made-up person that me and Jack came up with. She had really gross habits, like eating the green stuff in between her toes and sucking on her knuckles. and we figured out that someone like this would have a real crush on Julian, who looked and acted like someone in a Kids Bop commercial. There were also a couple of times in February when Julian, Miles, and Henry played tricks on Jack. They didn't play tricks on me, I think, because they knew that if they did, they would get caught bullying me, and it would be a big time trouble for them. Jack, they figured, was an easier target, so one time they stole his gym shorts and played monkey in the middle with them in the locker room. And another time, Miles, who sat next to Jack in homeroom, swiped Jack's worksheet off his desk, crumbled it into a ball, and then tossed it to Julian across the room. This wouldn't have happened if Miss Petosa had been there, but there was a substitute teacher that day, and subs never really know what's going on. Jack was good about this stuff. He never let them see that he was upset, and I think sometimes he was. The other kids in the grade knew about the war, except for Savannah's group, the girls that were neutral at first. But by March, they were getting sick of it, and so were some of the boys. Julian was dumping some pencil sharpener shavings into Jack's backpack. Amos, who was usually tight with them, grabbed the backpack out of Julian's hands and returned it to Jack. It was starting to feel like the majority of the boys weren't buying into Julian anymore. Then, a few weeks ago, Julian started spreading this ridiculous rumor that Jack had been hired as some hitman to get him, and that Miles and Henry also were hired. This lie was so pathetic that people were actually laughing about him behind his back. And at that point, any boys who had still been on his side now jumped ship and were clearly neutral. So by the end of March, only Miles and Henry were on Julian's side, and I think even they were getting tired of the war by then. I'm pretty sure everyone stopped playing the play game behind my back too. No one really cringes if I bump into them anymore, and people borrow my pencils without acting like the pencils have cooties. People even joke around with me now sometimes. Like the other day, I saw Maya writing a note to Ellie on a piece of ugly doll stationery, and I don't know why, but I just kind of randomly said, "Did you guys know that the guy who created the ugly dolls based them on me?" Maya looked at me with her eyes wide open, like she totally believed me. Then, when she realized I was only kidding, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. "You're so funny, August," she said. And then she told Ellie and some of the other girls what I had just said, and they all thought it was funny too. Like at first they were shocked, but then when they saw I was laughing about it, they knew it was okay to laugh about it too. And the next day I found a little ugly doll keychain sitting on my chair with a nice little note from Maya that said, "For the nicest Augie doll in the world, XO, Maya." 6 months ago, stuff like that would have never happened, but now it happens more and more. Also, people have been really nice about the hearing aids I had to start wearing. Since I was little, the doctors told my parents that someday I would need hearing aids, and I don't know why this always freaked me out a bit. Maybe because anything to do with my ears bothers me a lot. My hearing was getting worse, but I hadn't told anyone about it. The ocean sound that was always in my head had been getting louder. It was drowning out people's voices, like I was underwater, and I couldn't hear teachers if I sat in the back of the classroom. But I knew if I told Mom or Dad about it, I'd end up with hearing aids, and I was hoping I could make it through the 5th grade without having that happen. But then, in my annual checkup in October, I flunked the audiology test, and the doctor was like, "Dude, it's time." And he sent me to a special ear doctor who took impressions of my ears. Out of all of my features, my ears are the ones I hate the most. They're like tiny closed fists on the side of my face. They're too low on my head, too. They look like squashed pieces of pizza, sticking out on the top of my neck or something. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little, but I really hate them. And when the doctor first pulled the hearing aids out for me and my mom to look at, I groaned. "I am not wearing that thing," I announced, folding my arms in front of me. "I know they probably look kind of big," said the ear doctor, "but we had to attach them to the headband because we had no other way of making them so that they would stay in your ears." See, normal hearing aids usually have a part that wraps around the outer ear to hold the inner bud in place. But in my case, since I don't have any outer ears, they had to put the earbuds on this heavy-duty headband that was supposed to wrap around the back of my head. "I can't wear that, Mom," I whined. "You'll hardly notice them," said Mom, trying to be cheerful. "They look like headphones." "Headphones? Look at them, Mom," I said angrily. "I'll look like Lobbit." "Which one is Lobbit?" said Mom calmly. Lobbit, the ear doctor smiled as he looked at the headphones and made some adjustments. The Empire Strikes Back? The bald guy with the cool bionic radio transmitter thing that wraps around the back of his skull? I'm drawing a blank, said Mom. You know, Star Wars stuff? I asked the ear doctor. No Star Wars stuff, he answered, slipping the thing over my head. I practically invented Star Wars stuff. He leaned back in his chair to see how the headband fit, and then took it off again. Now, Augie, I want to explain what all of this is, he said, pointing to the different paths of one of the hearing aids. This curved piece of plastic over here connects to the tubing on the ear mold, and that's why we took those impressions back in December. So that this part can go inside your ear and fit nice and snug. This part here is called the tone hook, okay? And this thing is a special part that we've attached to the cradle here. The lobbit part? I said miserably. Hey, lobbit is cool, said the ear doctor. It's not like we're saying you're going to look like Jar Jar, you know? That will be bad. He slid the earphones on my head again carefully. There you go, August. So how's that? Totally uncomfortable, I said. You'll get used to them very quickly, he said. I looked in the mirror, and my eyes started tearing up. All I saw were these tubes jutting out from either side of my head, like antennas. Do I really have to wear this, Mom? I said, trying not to cry. I hate them. They don't make any difference. Give it a second, buddy, said the doctor. I haven't even turned them on yet. Wait until you hear the difference. You'll want to wear them. No, I won't. And then he turned them on. Hearing brightly. How can I describe what I heard when the doctor turned on my hearing aids? Or what I didn't hear? It's too hard to think of the words. The ocean just wasn't living inside my head anymore. It was gone. I could hear sounds like shiny lights in my brain. It was like when you're in a room where one of the light bulbs in the ceiling isn't working, but you don't realize how dark it is until someone changes the light bulb, and then you're like, whoa, it's so bright in here. I don't know if there's a word that means the same as bright in terms of hearing, but I wish I knew one, because my ears were hearing brightly now. How does it sound, Augie? Said the ear doctor. Can you hear me okay, buddy? I looked at him and smiled, but I didn't answer. Sweetie, do you hear anything differently? Said Mom. You don't have to shout, Mom, I nodded happily. Are you hearing better? Asked the ear doctor. I don't hear that noise anymore, I answered. It's so quiet in my ears. The white noise is gone, he said, nodding. He looked at me and winked. I told you would like what you heard, August. He made more adjustments on the left hearing aid. Does it sound very different, love? Mom asked. Yeah, I nodded. It sounds lighter. That's because you have bionic hearing now, buddy, said the ear doctor, adjusting the right side. Now, touch here. He put my hand behind the hearing aid. Do you feel that? That's the volume. You have to find the volume that works for you, and we're going to do the rest. Well, what do you think? He picked up a small mirror and had me look in the big mirror at how the hearing aids looked in the back. My hair covered most of the headband. The only part that peeked out was the tubing. Are you okay with your new bionic Lobot hearing aids? The ear doctor asked, looking in the mirror at me. Yeah, I said. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. James, said Mom. The first day I showed up at school with the hearing aids, I thought that kids would make a big deal about it, but no one did. Summer was glad I could hear better, and Jack said it made me look like an FBI agent or something. But that was it. Mr. Brown asked me about it in English class, but it wasn't like, what is that thing on your head? It was more like, if you ever need me to repeat something, make sure that you tell me, okay? And now that I look back, I don't know why I was so stressed about it all this time. Funny how sometimes you worry a lot about something, and it turns out to be nothing. Via's secret. A couple of days after spring break ended, Mom found out that Via hadn't told her about a school play that was happening at her high school the next week. And Mom was mad. Mom doesn't really get that mad, though Dad would disagree with that. But she was really mad at Via for that. She and Via got into a huge fight, and I could hear them yelling at each other in Via's room. My bionic Lobot ears could hear Mom saying, "But what is it with you lately, Via? You're moody and secretive. What is so wrong with my not telling you about a stupid play?" Via practically screamed. "I don't even have a speaking part in it." "Well, your boyfriend does. Don't you want us to go see him in it?" No, actually I don't. Stop screaming. You scream first. Just leave me alone, okay? You've been really good about leaving me alone my whole life. So why choose high school to suddenly become so interested? I have no idea. Then I don't know what Mom answered because it all got very quiet, and even my bionic robot ears couldn't pick up a signal or a sound. My cave. By dinner, they had seemed to have made up, and Dad was working late, and Daisy was sleeping. She'd thrown up a lot earlier the next day, and Mom made an appointment to take her to the vet the next morning. The three of us were sitting down, and no one was talking. Finally, I said, "So are we going to see Justin in a play?" Via didn't answer, but she looked down at her plate. "You know, Augie," said Mom quietly, "I hadn't realized what play it was, and really it isn't something that would be interesting to kids your age." "So I'm not invited?" I said, looking at Via. "I didn't say that," said Mom. "It's just, I don't think it's something you'd enjoy. You'd get totally bored," said Via, like she was accusing me of something. "Are you and Dad going?" I asked. "Dad'll go." "I'll stay home with you." "What?" Via yelled at Mom. "Oh, great, so you're going to punish me for being honest by not going?" "You didn't want us to go in the first place, remember?" answered Mom. "But now that you know about it, of course I want you to go," said Via. "Well, I've got to weigh everyone's feelings here, Via," said Mom. "What are you two talking about?" I shouted. "Nothing," they both snapped at the same time. "Just something about Via's school that has nothing to do with you," said Mom. "You're lying," I said. "Excuse me?" said Mom, kind of shocked. Even Via looked surprised. "I said you're lying," I shouted. "You're lying. You're both liars, and you're lying to my face." "Sit down, Augie," said Mom, grabbing my arm. I pulled my arm away and pointed at Via. "You think I don't know what's going on?" I yelled. "You just don't want your brand new fancy high school friends to know your brother's a freak." "Augie," Mom yelled, "that's not true." "Stop lying to me, Mom," I shrieked. "Stop treating me like a baby. I know what's going on." I ran down the hallway to my room and slammed the door behind me so hard that I actually heard little pieces of the wall crumble inside the doorframe. And then I plopped onto my bed and pulled the covers up on top of me. I threw my pillows over my disgusting face, and then piled all my stuffed animals on top of the pillows, like I was inside a little cave. If I could walk around with a pillow over my face all the time, I would. I don't even know how I got so mad. I wasn't really mad at the beginning of the dinner. I wasn't even sad. But then all of a sudden, it kind of just exploded out of me. I knew Via didn't want me to go to her stupid play, and I knew why. I figured Mom would follow me into my room right away, but she didn't. I wanted her to find me inside of my cave of stuffed animals, so I waited a little bit longer, but even after 10 minutes, she still didn't come in after me. I was pretty surprised. She always checks on me when I'm in my room, upset about stuff. I pictured Mom and Via talking about me in the kitchen. I figured Via was feeling really, really bad. I pictured Mom totally laying on the guilt, and Dad would be mad at her when he came home too. I made a little hole through the pile of pillows and stuffed animals and peeked at the clock on the wall. Half an hour had passed, and Mom still hadn't come into my room. I tried to listen for the sounds in the other rooms. Were they still having dinner? What was going on? Finally, the door opened. It was Via. She didn't even bother coming over to my bed, and she didn't come in softly like I thought she would. She came in quickly. "Goodbye." "Augie," said Via. "Come quick. Mom needs to talk to you." "I'm not apologizing." "Well, this isn't about you," she yelled. "Not everything in the world is about you, Augie. Now hurry up. Daisy's sick. Mom's taking her to the emergency vet. Come say goodbye." I pushed the pillows off my face and looked up at her. That's when I saw that she was crying. "What do you mean goodbye? Come on," she said, holding out her hand. I took her hand and followed her down the hall to the kitchen. Daisy was laying down sideways on the floor with her legs straight out in front of her. She was panting a lot, like she'd been running in the park. Mom was kneeling beside her, stroking the top of her head. "What happened?" I asked. "She just started whimpering all of a sudden," said Via, kneeling down next to Mom. I looked down at Mom, who was crying too. "I'm taking her to the animal hospital downtown," she said. "The taxi's coming to pick me up." "The vet'll make her better, right?" I said. Mom looked at me. "I hope so, honey," she said quietly, "but I honestly don't know." "Of course he will," I said. "Daisy's been sick a lot lately, Augie, and she's old." "But they can fix her," I said, looking at Via to agree with me, but Via wouldn't look up at me. Mom's lips were trembling. I think it might be the time that we say goodbye to Daisy, Augie. I'm sorry. No, I said. We don't want her to suffer, Augie, she said. The phone rang and Via picked it up and said, okay, thanks, and then hung up. The taxi's outside, she said, wiping her tears with the backs of her hands. Okay, Augie, open the door for me, sweetie, said Mom, picking Daisy up very gently like she was a huge droopy baby. Please no, Mom, I cried, putting myself in the front of the door. Honey, please, said Mom. She's very heavy. What about Dad? I cried. He's meeting me at the hospital, Mom said. He doesn't want Daisy to suffer, Augie. Via moved me away from the door and held it open for Mom. My cell phone's on if you need anything, Mom said to Via. Can you cover her with a blanket? Via nodded, but she was crying hysterically now. Say goodbye to Daisy, kids, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. I love you, Daisy, Via said, kissing Daisy on the nose. I love you so much. Bye, little girlie, I whispered into Daisy's ear. I love you. Mom carried Daisy down the stoop. The taxi driver had opened the back door and we watched her get in. Just before she closed the door, Mom looked up at us standing by the entrance to the building and she gave us a little wave. I've ever seen her look sadder. I love you, Mom, said Via. I love you, Mom, I said. I'm sorry, Mom. Mom blew a kiss to us and closed the door. We watched the car leave and then Via closed the door. She looked at me a second and then she hugged me very, very tight while we both cried a million tears.